of Kindness 101. People are still coming in, so let's give them a minute, and maybe you guys can get a drink or something while we are waiting for them to come in. Okay, each time we have been getting thousands of views, and thank you guys for all watching and whatever. Meryl, do you have anything to say?
Well, class will begin shortly.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to do anything, go ahead and do it. And yeah.
Okay. So I think we are about ready to start.
Okay, good job, guys. We're up.
Yep, we're up. Yep.
We're up and ready to go. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. You met Emmett and Meryl already. George is over there at the computer ready to take your comments and questions if you have any. Remember, if you have any comments or questions, you need to be on the CBS Evening News Facebook page as opposed to one of the other platforms. You're welcome to stay where you are. We want you watching, definitely. But if you want us to hear your comments and questions, that's where you need to be. Got good news. You all graduate today. You get to virtually wear one of these very impractical graduation hats at the end of today. Do you know what you call these, Meryl?
Well, usually you wear them in college after you graduate.
Right, but they have a name, you know. I'll give you multiple choice. You think it's called a mortar board?
No.
Or no, okay. Or how about a squarey McSquarestein?
No.
It's actually called a mortar board, believe it or not. And this is what you wear when you graduate. And kids are going to graduate today from Kindness 101.
How are they going to get that?
It's a virtual thing. They pretend to wear one, or they could cut one out of paper, whatever they wanted. Yeah, just a way of saying that we graduated today. It's our last class. So once you officially graduate from Kindness 101, you'll be asked to go out and share what you have learned, not by lecturing other kids and grown-ups, but by setting an example. So that's what's going to be required of you after you graduate, right?
Not like bragging, not bragging.
Right, not bragging. Not bragging, just by being kind and practicing all the things that they've learned here in our class, right? Do we go over just a little bit of what we've learned? Everything that if you missed the first classes, it's all available on YouTube. So you can type in Kindness 101 on YouTube and you can watch our first 3 classes, which were, Meryl, can you just go through what the first class was?
The first class was character, as you can see here at the top. Second class was empathy. Yesterday we did friendship, but today we are talking about altruism.
Altruism, yeah. Do we know what altruism is? You've been wondering that this whole week, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever figure it out?
No.
Never figured out what altruism is. You want me to tell you?
Sure.
Okay. Altruism is a great word. Basically, it means caring about other people's happiness. That's kind of what it means. Maybe even more than your own happiness, which is pretty amazing if you think about who does that and why and how and what does that mean? Well, there's something magical about altruism. Let's say that I had a piece of licorice, okay? And if I gave it to you, how many would I have left? Let's pretend this is happiness. If I gave it to you.
You would have 0 left.
No, but the thing about altruism, you give away happiness.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. You get more happiness. Now let's say I gave you both these happinesses. Take both those. Now I'm even happier. Isn't that weird how that works? You wouldn't think it would work that way, but that's the way altruism works. When you are kind to somebody else and you share your happiness, you get more in return. I got another example. I brought your camera. You remember when you got this? You really wanted this camera, remember? And you were happy with it. Okay, think about that for a second. Then there was also the time, I've got a picture here. This is a little thing Meryl made. This is a felt, what is that, a hedgehog?
Yeah, that's a hedgehog.
A felt hedgehog in this house that the hedgehog lives in. I got a tighter picture here. Oh, you want to show that yet? This is the hedgehog, okay? Made it out of felt. And you didn't make it for yourself. You made it for your friend. What's her name?
Lillian.
Lillian. and you gave her to at school. Can you tell everybody what that felt like when you gave away that hedgehog?
Well, I felt way more happy than getting this.
You did?
Yeah.
So giving away something made you happier than getting something. That is weird, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the magic of altruism. That's what we're here to talk about today. Okay, that power of altruism, the power of sincerely caring about other people's happiness. I've got 4 stories today about altruism, about people who put other people's happiness above their own. And my first example, one of my favorites, is a story we found in Toledo, Ohio. Let's watch this one.
Here at the Ohio Air National Guard Base near Toledo,
This is the 180th Fighter Wing.
Lieutenant Colonel Frank Daly still can't believe the honor recently bestowed upon him.
It's incredible being recognized in such a manner.
It happened at a Cracker Barrel, of all places. As the security camera shows, Lieutenant Colonel Daly entered the restaurant on February 7th for an early lunch. At about the same time, 8-year-old Miles Eckert came in with his family. Miles, in the green hoodie, was very excited. He just found a $20 bill in the parking lot.
Just sitting there?
Yeah.
Did you start thinking of what you could spend it on?
I kind of wanted to get a video game, but then I decided not to.
He changed his mind when he saw that guy in uniform.
Because he was a soldier, and soldiers remind me of my dad.
And so, with his dad in mind, Miles wrapped the 20 in a note that read, "Dear soldier, my dad was a soldier. He's in heaven now. I found this $20 in the parking lot when we got here. We like to pay it forward in my family. It's your lucky day. Thank you for your service. Signed, Miles Eckert, a Gold Star Kid." Army Sergeant Andy Eckert was killed in Iraq just 5 weeks after Miles was born. All the kid has ever had are pictures and dog tags,
This is his wedding ring.
other people's memories, and his own imagination.
I imagine him as a really nice person and somebody that would be really fun.
The dad he imagines must also love a good story,
Yeah.
because after lunch that day, Miles asked his mom Tiffany to make one more stop.
Excellent. He wanted to go see his dad. And he wanted to go by himself that day.
She took this picture from the car. Follow the footsteps and you'll see Miles standing there behind the flag, presumably telling his dad all about it. And whether heaven heard him or not, his good deed continues to impress here on earth.
You've read it more than once?
I look at it every day.
Kid gave you a bigger gift than $20.
A lifetime direction, for sure.
Lieutenant Colonel Daly says he's already given away the 20 and plans to do much more. He also hopes that little green post-it will inspire other people across the country to give as sincerely and dutifully as this father and son. Steve Hartman, on the road in Toledo, Ohio.
Okay. Let's imagine for a minute that Miles kept that $20 instead of giving it away, and he bought that video game. Where do you think that video game would be now? I'm guessing it might be in the dump. That'd be my guess. Instead, he gave it away, and I can promise you that the pride that he felt, that joy that he felt in his heart, is still there today. That is the power of altruism. Quick reminder, last couple classes we had, we got booted off Facebook. I don't know if there's too many people out there watching or what's going on. If that happens again today, just refresh your computer, reboot, come back to the Evening News Facebook page. We'll be back up. So let's move on to our next story now. This is about a man who gave up a lot more than $20. He gave up his job. He gave up his life savings, believe it or not, all to help a total stranger. Yeah. When I think of altruism, this is the man that I think of most. Let's watch this story.
By any logical standard, Last spring, 28-year-old Eugene Yoon made the craziest decision of his life.
I remember kind of just like looking up at the sky and being like, God, are you sure about this? Because I'm pretty happy right now.
Did it feel like that, like a calling?
It felt like a calling, but I tried to reject it for about 2 months because it was just too outlandish.
What Eugene felt called to do was one really big random act of kindness. He didn't know who he was supposed to help or how. All he knew was that he had to help someone, and it had to be life-altering. And that's when a video came across his Facebook page. It was a video of a guy he never met named Arthur Renowitsky, a paraplegic in a t-shirt with bold letters of bold defiance. After being mugged, shot, and paralyzed 8 years ago, Arthur vowed that he would walk again someday. And when Eugene heard about that, he called Arthur immediately.
He wasn't going to give up until I was walking again.
To walk again.
To walk again.
And you don't have a medical degree.
I have a film degree.
Which makes you wonder then, how were you going to make him walk again?
This is the part I had no idea at the time.
Eventually, though, he learned about this exoskeleton device that can help some people walk again. Unfortunately, it costs about $80,000. So, to pay for it, Eugene quit his job at a research company in Northern California to hike
Here we go.
from the California-Mexico border to Canada.
We're going.
Along the way, he posted videos of the adventure and asked people to donate on social media. Until roundabout mid-Washington state,
We did it!
when Eugene learned
We did it!
that he had reached his fundraising goal.
You're going to walk!
And again, all this to help a total stranger.
Yes!
To quit his job, to go into debt from doing this, to help me get back on my feet. You don't meet people like that every day.
Eugene Yoon felt called to make a difference in someone's life. But when he heeded that call, he had no idea what a difference he'd make. Until proof rounded the corner. This is the first time Eugene got to see Arthur walk.
Oh my God. I'm so happy for you. Thank you, brother.
I call him my brother now. We are brothers. I'm just very thankful to have a friend like him. I wouldn't be here, man, if it wasn't for you.
Makes you wonder, that little voice Eugene heard, was that ever about helping someone with a hardship? Or was it about helping two someones with a friendship?
So, do you think Eugene has any regrets for what he did? Do you think he's sitting at home regretting that he quit his job? Or do you think maybe he gave away a piece of licorice and got two back? That's what I think happened. Now, some of you at home may be saying, I can't do something like that. I can't leave school and go hike the Pacific Crest Trail. Well, the good news is you don't have to. What most people do to be altruistic is volunteer or work on a neighborhood project. That's what a lot of people do. We talked about our homework assignment. That was to go out, you'll remember, and find an everyday hero, somebody who's helping us get by through this coronavirus, and do a thank you. Well, some kids, a whole neighborhood of kids. I just want to show you a couple quick pictures. There's a neighborhood where the kids got together, and they went up to the homes of elderly people in the neighborhood. And I don't know if you can see here, but they were writing with chalk in the driveways, and they went to just pretty much every elderly person in the neighborhood, and they wrote signs in the driveway. This one here says, we are so glad you're in our neighborhood. Could you imagine when those people living in that house woke up and saw that sign there? That had to make them feel pretty good, don't you think? Yeah, I think so too. So that's the kind of thing you can do. Our next story is about a neighborhood project, kind of like that. This one takes place in Newton, Massachusetts. I know you'll like this one.
At the far end of Islington Road in Newton, Massachusetts, lives a little girl near and dear to the neighborhood. 2-year-old Samantha Sappitz is deaf, but boy, does she love to talk to anyone who knows sign language. Her parents, Raphael and Glenda.
Yeah, she's super engaging. She wants to, chat up
with anybody.
Yeah, her whole personality changes and someone who can communicate with her.
Likewise, if someone can't, well, that makes Sam just a little sad. Her desire for engagement has been painfully obvious to everyone in the neighborhood. Whenever they see her on a walk or in her yard, and Sam tries to be neighborly, they find themselves at a frustrating loss for words.
I didn't know what to say back. Wouldn't you like to talk to her?
Basic conversation that one would have with a child.
Asking her about her day.
And make her feel that she is part of the neighborhood. Just be her friend.
Unfortunately, this isn't something you can solve with a casserole. You'd need the whole community to learn sign language, just for a little 2-year-old girl. Can't expect neighbors to do that. You can only appreciate them when they do. On their own, Sam's neighbors got together, hired an instructor, and are now fully immersed in an American Sign Language class. The teacher, Reese McGovern, says this is remarkable because a lot of times even the parents of deaf children don't bother to learn sign language.
But here, Sam has a full community that's signing and communicating with her and her family, and it is a beautiful story.
And he says this level of inclusion will almost certainly guarantee a happier, more well-adjusted Sam, which is why her parents say there aren't words in any language to express their gratitude.
It's really shocking and beautiful.
We are so fortunate.
In fact, they say they're already seeing a difference in their daughter.
You should see her when she comes in at the end of class.
The first thing she says to us is, friend. I think your heart would melt just as mine did.
Sometimes it feels like America is losing its sense of community. But then you hear about a place like this, where the village it takes to raise a child is alive and well, and here to remind us that what makes a good neighborhood is nothing more than good neighbors. Steve Hartman, On the Road, in Newton, Massachusetts.
Okay. Think you got it now? Think you got it? See how caring for other people's happiness can make you happy too? Hopefully, after taking this class, you'll have a chance to try it. You'll have a piece of licorice, and it may not be easy at first. You might be thinking, do I really want to give away my time, my efforts, my toys? But if you let go and you give that piece of licorice, give that happiness, I think you'll find that you get more happiness back. That's what altruism, that big word we've been wondering about all day, that's what that's all about. So, do we have any comments, Emmett? Questions? Anything? You got a question here? Okay, take one of these questions. Apparently a lot of people are asking this question. What made you decide to do Kindness 101? Well, I've got 2 reasons, really. The first one is that I thought that with everything going on in the world, that this was a really good time to spread kindness. I felt like we needed it now more than ever. We always need it, but I felt like this would be the perfect time. You guys were all home from school, and some of you didn't have a whole lot to do, and I really believe in character education and teaching kids, some of the keys and the tricks and the methods for being a kind person. The other thing I wanted to do, I thought kind thing for me to do was kind of watch you guys for a half hour a day, keep you busy. And so that's the other reason that I wanted to do this. So, and we've been very surprised at all the people who took our class and joined us, and it wasn't just kids. There's a lot of adults out there. This was supposed to be for kids, but they kind of snuck into our class, and we're very grateful for them too. Okay, we're down to our last story. This one seemed most fitting of all, not just because it fits with our theme of altruism, but because right now a lot of us are stuck in our homes, just like the boy you're going to meet in this story.
Aside from immediate family, no one was allowed in the house to see 3-year-old Quinn Waters of Weymouth, Massachusetts. And more importantly, Quinn wasn't allowed out.
We basically keep them in a bubble just as a precaution.
Even a cold, a common cold, could be something that will bring him back into the hospital.
Parents Jarlath and Tara say Quinn's natural immunity was temporarily wiped out after he got a stem cell transplant to treat his brain cancer.
We are Italian.
Fortunately, the kid is a fighter, and as we first reported a few months ago, he kept a mostly positive attitude.
Do you want a drink or anything, dude?
No, thank you.
But it still stunk.
He sees all of this happening and he knows he's stuck inside. And there would be days.
Days when Quinn was literally pounding to get out. Unfortunately, staring out a window is a poor substitute for walking out a door. Quinn's connection to the outside world has been limited to whoever passes by, which hasn't been all that limiting, actually.
It started off with family members like come to the window.
Then the neighbors started showing up to entertain. The police caught wind. And pretty soon, top-notch performers were just showing up on Quinn's front lawn. It's turned into like a vaudeville stage out there.
Yeah, the window kind of became his window to the world, you know?
It got so you never knew what might happen by. One minute it could be a dog parade.
Look at that dog.
The next, a team of Irish step dancers. Everyone brought together by word of mouth and a will to help Quinn get better. Which his parents say did start happening.
It's the positive energy from all these people that we believe has gotten him through his sickness, you know? You can never repay, you know? Just maybe pay it forward, you know?
Being indebted. Never felt so fortunate.
Come on without, come on within. You'll not see nothing like the mighty Quinn.
After this story first aired in August, things got even better for Quinn.
What are you doing?
Light years better.
Trick-or-treating?
By Halloween, doctors had released him from home confinement, and free to be a kid again, he rushed outdoors at warp speed.
You can't outrun your shadow, buddy.
He also got to drop the puck at a Boston Bruins game, felt the sand between his toes at the Massachusetts shore, and yesterday saw the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade pass by. There is no greater curse than cancer, but no greater blessing than beating it. Steve Hartman, on the road in Weymouth, Massachusetts.
Quinn got his regular life back, and pretty soon we will too. We just, in the meantime, need to be as altruistic as possible. That's all I ask. So now you have officially graduated from Kindness 101. And since this is a graduation, we need a commencement speaker. And I just happen to have the perfect commencement speaker that I want to share with you. This is a loving mother of three who also happens to be the managing editor and anchor of the CBS Evening News. Here is Nora O'Donnell. Nora, how are you? Can you say a few things to our class?
Oh my gosh, this would be my first commencement speech of the year, which I'm unprepared for. But I love that today you're talking about altruism, which of course means being selfless. And if you talk about people who are in public service, people who are in the military, teachers, every day they are engaged in selfless acts. And I love what you said about, giving happiness. You find that it kind of boomerangs back to you, and I believe that. And actually, tonight we're kind of following your lead and talking about kindness, because we've got a piece at the end of the show about a woman named Elena Tompkins here in DC who loves restaurants, and she wanted to help people on the front lines in hospitals. And so she's delivering meals from restaurants that are doing takeout and trying to stay afloat and bringing them to doctors and nurses and those who work in hospitals. And so we'll have her story tonight. She's already delivered more than 700 meals. So that's another way. And you just see many of these nurses crying, what? Somebody's bringing coffee for us? What? Somebody's bringing lunch for us? And so even more than the meal is the gesture that counts.
And our class has been doing a lot of things on that same theme. They've been doing thank you notes to UPS drivers and cashiers, and we're going to have their story. We're going to show their homework on tomorrow's evening news. So they're going to want to tune in for that too. I don't even know if you knew that or not, but that's what we're doing.
I did, and I've seen some of, we featured last night the kid who handed the note to the guy
Yes.
driving the garbage truck
Yes.
on the end of a broom or something like that, or a rake. And so I've seen some of the thank you notes, and I try myself to write a lot of handwritten thank you notes to people. You know, it's easier sometimes to send an email, and I try and do those too, but to get a handwritten note always shows someone put some extra time into it. So I still try and practice that. I know I could be better at it, but I try and write as many handwritten notes as I can.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for joining our class. Thanks for being our commencement speaker. We appreciate.
Thank you. Will there be a kindness 102?
Will there be a kindness 102? We've had a lot of people asking that. We're going to think about it. Or 201, or however it works. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, class. It was fun. It would be fun to do a 102. We'll see how things go. Hopefully we'll all be back in school and you'll have much better teachers than me doing your classes, right? You want to get back to school, don't you? Yeah, you look good in that hat. Hope it's not the last time. Okay, thanks again, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Be kind, and we'll see you again. Watch us on the CBS Evening News on Friday night. See some of your homework. Okay, bye, guys.